It was a quiet night in a remote barangay in the heart of the Visayas. Kind of night where the only sounds were the rustling of the leaves and the occasional chirp of a cricket. The Dela Cruz family lived in a modest nipa hut, a home that had sheltered generations. Life was simple, and they found contentment in their daily routines and the company of their tight-knit community. One evening, as the family settled down after dinner, they heard something peculiar. Faint, yet distinct footsteps echoed on the roof. Maria, the mother, paused her story mid-sentence, her eyes darting to the ceiling. She brushed it off, attributing the noise to a stray cat or a curious bird. Little did she know, this was just the beginning. As days turned into weeks, the footsteps became a nightly occurrence, always starting around midnight. The family tried to ignore it, but an uneasy feeling began to settle in their hearts. Pedro, the father, decided to investigate. Armed with a flashlight and a sturdy stick, he climbed onto the roof one night, hoping to catch the culprit. But he found nothing. No animals, no signs of tampering. Just an eerie silence that sent shivers down his spine. One fateful night, the footsteps were louder than ever. Pedro stayed up, determined to uncover the mystery. Midnight came, and with it, the familiar sound. He waited, heart pounding, eyes fixed on the window. Suddenly, he saw them, two glowing red eyes staring intently into the room. Pedro froze, unable to move or call out. The eyes seemed to pierce his soul, filling him with an inexplicable dread. The next morning, Pedro gathered his family. He recounted what he had seen, describing the eyes in chilling detail. Maria, clutching her rosary, suggested they seek help from the local albulario, healer. Their children, Juan and Ana, listened wide-eyed, fear evident on their young faces. They visited Mang Tomas, respected albulario of the barangay. After listening to Pedro's story, Mang Tomas nodded gravely. "You are dealing with something not of this world," he said. He gave them a bundle of herbs and a small bottle of consecrated oil, instructing them to sprinkle it around their home and recite prayers for protection. That night, the Dela Cruz family followed Mang Tomas's instructions to the letter. They sprinkled the herbs and oil around their home, reciting prayers with fervent faith. The atmosphere was tense, each family member holding their breath, hoping this would end their ordeal. To their relief, the night passed without incident. No footsteps, no red eyes. For the first time in weeks, they slept peacefully. It seemed that the ritual had worked, and whatever had been haunting them was finally gone. Days turned into weeks, and life began to return to normal. The family felt a collective sense of relief, believing that the worst was behind them. They laughed more freely, the children played outside without fear, and Pedro and Maria found solace in their evening prayers. But the calm was short-lived. One night, as they were getting ready for bed, the footsteps returned, louder and more insistent than ever. Pedro's heart sank. He grabbed his flashlight and stick, determined to confront whatever it was. As he approached the window, the red eyes appeared again, more menacing this time. Pedro and Maria decided to take drastic measures. They went to the local church, seeking divine intervention. Kneeling at the altar, they prayed fervently, begging for protection and deliverance from the malevolent presence that tormented their family. That night, a fierce storm raged outside. Thunder crashed, and lightning illuminated the dark sky. The footsteps were louder than ever, almost as if the entity was mocking them. Pedro stood guard, his grip on the stick tight. Suddenly, the door burst open, and a gust of wind blew out the lamps, plunging the room into darkness. In the doorway stood a shadowy figure, its eyes glowing red. Pedro's fear was palpable, but he stood his ground. He raised the stick, ready to defend his family. The figure stepped closer, and Pedro swung with all his might. The stick passed through the figure as if it were made of smoke. Just as despair began to set in, bright light flooded the room. It was as if the heavens themselves had intervened. The shadowy figure let out a horrific screech and vanished, leaving behind a lingering sense of dread, but no visible presence. As dawn broke, the family sat together, weary but relieved. They knew they had been given a second chance. The red eyes never returned, and the footsteps ceased. Life slowly returned to normal. The memory of that night lingered. The Dela Cruz family decided to plant a tree near their home, a symbol of hope and renewal. They never forgot the terror they had faced, but they also remembered the strength and unity that had seen them through. Years later, Pedro would recount the story to his grandchildren, a cautionary tale about the unknown and the power of faith and family. The nipa hut remained, a silent witness to the night they faced the midnight visitor, and emerged stronger. The story of the Dela Cruz family is a reminder that even in the face of the unknown, courage, faith, and unity can see us through the darkest of time. Thank you for joining us on this eerie journey with the Dela Cruz family. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more tales of the supernatural from Philippine folklore, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Dilim Chronicle. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Until next time, stay safe and watch out for the shadows in the night.